Hey there, gang. Hey, welcome back to the clubhouse again. This time I am in a private room. There's some folks using the jacuzzi here, so I can't brag about that anymore. Nobody ever comes here. There is somebody using the jacuzzi. I ended up having to leave that foyer area when they came in. So, anyways, so today I just want to share some gel experience for you, some gel adventures. If that's all right. So let's start off talking about, first of all, my gel experience in Tooele. That was in latter part of 2015 and 2016. I served about, I think it was a five or 6 month prison time. Anyways, the biggest thing I took from my jail experience is not exhibiting fear in the face of danger. Despite intimidation tactics by other people used to frighten you and stuff like that. Just don't exhibit fear, because they use that fear to make you cower and make you just live your life in fear. So and in most cases it's just the theatrics used to scare a person. So but when I was serving in jail, we had just a couple cell doors down from me, we had two Nazis, and of course it was jail policy to put people who are same gang affiliation in the same jail cell, just so you wouldn't have rivalries and stuff like that. And but yeah, they both had covered tattoos, Nazi themed tattoos all over their body and all over their faces. And then the spookiest one was the swastikas on their eyelids. That was, if you saw these guys in a dark alley or just even out on the street, you'd probably run in terror. They meant for it. I think it was intimidation is what it was. So that alone would be enough to make a person run the opposite direction if they ever glanced your way. Now the tall one of these two, his name was Corrupt. I don't know I don't even remember any of their actual real names. We just all called each other by our gang names in jail and stuff. The other one, I couldn't remember his name. So, but they got this. Well, let me tell you about Corrupt first of all. Corrupt, he was a taller guy. You probably saw him, bald, clean shaven head, probably about 6'2". But yeah, he was on the evening news. He was notorious for he'd held up several convenience stores there in Tooele at gunpoint, and even one of them was an attempted homicide where he'd actually slit the gas station attendant's neck and stuff like that. She lived, but yeah, he was just in transition to state prison. He was on his way to state prison, and with the sentence 20 to life or something like that. So quite the guy. But they got this brilliant idea when they saw me translating just English to Spanish, court documents and judges' orders for these Hondurans. The Hondurans we had, so Tooele had also had a string of Honduran cartel gang members in Tooele there. One of these guys later, a couple months down the road, would become my cellie. And that's an experience for another podcast too. All the experiences he told me about. But he always liked to brag about the fact that that they were flooding the streets of Tooele with synthetic black heroin. In retribution because they didn't like Utah. They said they didn't like Utah's immigration policies and stuff like that. So go figure. Later, this guy would, it was because of him. Some of the weird, if you dare listen to us, some of the stuff that he did was pretty disturbing. But it got him and me taken out of our cell, and guards took us to private rooms to interrogate us and strip search us, take off all our clothes, and to do the anal cavity search and all that kind of thing. So. Anyways, to get back to our story about these two Nazis, they basically just wanted to make me their messenger boy. So anyways, Corrupt Sally, I wish I could remember his name, but the shorter one, after lunch one day, he comes over to my cell or no, he came over to my table. I was just sitting out in the main foyer. He sat down at my table and told me, hey Mike, we got a favor to ask of you. This is just right after lunch, an opportunistic time. But yeah, we just have we just have a favor to ask of you. If you could go tell this Honduran to not take a shower, right after lunch. He was in there taking a shower while we were speaking. He says everybody here knows that Myceli, corrupt. He's the first one in that shower after lunch. And he wanted me to go tell him and translate for him. And I told him, no, I probably wouldn't be doing that. So, and to kind of get lost, I guess. So, but thanks anyways. It was a while later. I was sitting at my desk in my cell, and just sitting at my desk when this corrupt comes to my door, and he just comes and all kind of forlorn and sad, and he says, "Hey Mike, Myceli didn't mean anything by what he said. He just." He was as polite as could be, asking me. He just asking for a favor is all. Since you're the one that with being able to speak Spanish, if you could just tell these guys, everybody here knows that I take the first shower after lunch, and them being new, they're brand new, they just don't know. So that's what he was getting at. He just wanted to let you know, and so I told him. What did I tell him? I just told him, I've been through, the last little bit, recently, been through a lot of bullshit, been through some shit and lost a lot. And I only wish to do my time and skate out of here. That I didn't wish to get caught up in his bullshit. And I even told him, I says, and sometimes my life it feels pointless. I've lost so much, lost everything, and you'd be doing me a big favor if you stuck a shank in me, just end it for me. And then I told him, I says, now how about if you just what I tell him, get out of my jail cell and get the fuck out of here is what I told him. And so he kind of sauntered away, and I retired that evening and went to bed. And then next morning woke up. They usually let us out of jail at 7 o'clock in the morning, but in this case, instead of letting us out, there was a message in the intercom says that they're doing a cell lockdown. Nobody would be coming out of their cells because they're going to start searching everybody's cells, and to be prepared for it. And they didn't say why, but I later learned is because they discovered that the angle bracket on the mop head on one of the sides, the angle bracket had gone missing. So I just imagine they suspected somebody was going to use it as a gel shank. So you can imagine my anxiety. But yeah, the entire system, the entire compound was under lockdown for an entire week while they went through each individual cell, looking for that mop bracket or potential gel shank and stuff. So, and you can imagine my anxiety and uneasiness, being, especially after I basically invited that guy. It's like, hey, you'd be doing me a big favor if you stuck a shank in me. I don't know where that come from. I've never said anything like that in my life. So yeah, a lot of anxiety and uneasiness as we, being for the remainder of that week, or for that whole week, just being in lockdown. At least I had a new cell at that point, and we shared kind of the same life's experiences. The child custody fight, while having that stigma of being a wife beater and stuff like that. So you could say we at least had a lot in common. We had a lot to talk about and stuff like that. And you could say that there's never probably any event more frightening in my life that would get a guy to such as me to, be on my knees and, just pleading for God's mercy to be able to come out of this safely and all that kind of thing. If I ever got PTSD, it was probably more, more from this event than anything else. So anyways, this next episode, we'll probably, do a continuation of this and just talk about, what happened with that shank, what come of it and stuff like that. So you guys stay tuned, and we'll hopefully have that posted for you tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.